And the next voice you hear after this little bit of music will be that of SOTU. Thank you, Josh. Here we go.
All right. Good morning, Marilyn.
Good morning, SOTU. Good morning, Adrian. So I had a question regarding the fact that if this is a reflection of our own beliefs or our own, I want to say, ideas of, what is real, then is the purpose of this reflection to show us that we can choose a different reality or have a different perspective? Is there I want to say, sort of a more loving purpose to everything that's happening, the chaos, the panic, the fear?
Sure, absolutely there is. And the greater purpose is to be able to begin to move you all more toward that place of caring and compassion. This is a situation that is, ultimately it's a reflection, a mirrored reflection of what needs to happen as you are getting more into the dynamics of social distancing and all of that stuff. You're going to find out that that's exactly the opposite of where you need to be. And in fact, you need to begin to come together in small groups that are going to begin to be able to align your purposes in order to actually create. And so, the purpose is to move more and more into your own dynamics of personal empowerment, move more and more into the dynamics of responsibility. And so the more responsibility that you take for your reality, the more you are able to create your dreams coming true and your desire. This dynamic, the thing is that once something, disease is a funny thing. And you can look at this dynamic as a reflection of a diseased way of thinking, a diseased way of being. And it is a direct representation of the dissonance that comes from, what are they calling it, identity politics of considering yourself through the dynamics of race or political affiliation, or rather than just considering yourself all human beings who have different ideas and diversified understandings of things. And that is the beauty of you, is that dynamic of that creativity. Now, the thing about it is that you're being forced. And in many ways, government is capitulating to an overriding dynamic of energy, okay? We do not know whether you agree with us, Marilyn, or audience or not, and to us it doesn't really matter, but if we look at the situation, we see that the toxicity or the reaction to the what is considered this pandemic is as histrionic as the Me Too movement or we pissed some people off with that one, or the dynamics of the overwrought nature of reaction around supposed faux pas that occur in your world. So many are so hyper aware and hyper reactionary to things that is this not the whole dynamic of the pandemic? Is this not an overreaction in so many ways? You go back statistically, Obama was involved in the dynamics of the swine flu, wasn't it? The swine flu, the H1N1.
There were some
21,000 people died before they put a dynamic like this into effect. Go back to many of the other dynamics that have occurred. Is this as severe? It doesn't seem to be. SARS was a coronavirus. MERS was a coronavirus. So this is like at least the third presentation, the third mutation of the coronavirus. Yeah. Well, from our perspective, no one lives or dies by accident. So, but you have to look at the dynamic and say, is this not an overreaction? Is this not a seemingly manipulated dynamic that is coming not from the actuality of the disease, but the reaction to it? And we'll give you a moment to speak.
So what would a response, a loving response, a compassionate response, that could shift the frequency of this hysteria? Does that come from the individual, from each individual kind of finding peace within themselves and allowing this to pass? I'm trying to get an idea of kind of a way to be.
Well, as we said yesterday, breath work will work very well in this sort of dynamic. Meditation, anything that can relieve the dynamic of your anxiety. When you're dealing with the dynamic of fear, the first thing that you have to ask yourself, is something really threatened? Now, if you look at the dynamic and you say, well, here I am, I'm 30 years old and healthy, and 80% of all people that are getting this disease are only getting a very light version of it, and there's no threat at all. And in other words, if you do not already have a compromised immune system or are somewhere around 80 years old, then there is, then you need to be careful. But you're at the end of a long existence anyway, generally speaking. So, what you need to do is look at the dynamic of each individual. We do not really wish to give you a panacea here, because the fear that each of you are facing is a purposeful dynamic for the way that you are going to be able to alleviate it.